Hello and welcome to In the Court of the Winter King. We thought we should do something slightly different this week. I think we'll be back with, if you haven't seen 3 books yet, then the third book will be coming, or you've already seen the third book, or and this is the, I don't know, something. We have here this, which I've broken Sam's phone, I'm sorry. Okay. And with this, we will be reviewing albums which we would never review. That's the idea. Because they're bland. So we are reviewing. The idea is they're good albums. They are objectively good albums. Yes, they are. And but they're not ones we review because there's nothing to say about them because they're bland, normal rock. There's actually a theme in the albums, and that wasn't the plan at all. You know, I really struggled to come up with 3 albums we wouldn't review that was planned. I'm sure if we sat down. The ones we could do. Maybe this is good. We could do another one. I don't know. I mean, you know, Bon Jovi was something that comes to mind, and I don't want to review Bon Jovi for God's sake. Why? So there's a blues rock thing. We're not having a go at blues rock. We're not saying blues rock is bland. I mean, it kind of is.
I mean, it probably is because there's been so much of it.
Yes. So don't think of this as a critique of blues rock. It's just 3 random rock albums that are bland, or are they? Yes. Album number 1. Which one's album number 1?
Free?
Free. Yeah, Free should be first.
Yeah.
Fire and Water.
It's actually the 3rd Free album. I didn't know that until I googled it for this review. I always assumed it was the first album. I didn't have a clue. Obviously, I mean, hugely influential on hard rock. This is as influential as Led Zeppelin or something. You know, it's that, and yet. It's just there. It's free. Everyone knows All Right Now, and they like chewing gum, and the whole album sounds like All Right Now. Well, I should say this. I was amazed how well I knew it. I must have listened to this a lot 25 years ago on this actual CD, and then it sat on the shelf. It's a bit dusty, but I must have listened to it a lot because I know all the songs really well. You know when you know all the little sounds and really, really familiar. But it's striking, and I remember at the time the slow tempos, stuff got faster. You know, but that keeps it in the bounds of blues rock and actually being hard rock. Even though I think really influenced hard rock, not particularly blues rock. And it emphasises the R&B-ness, which really comes from the vocals, I think. And that's kind of the good bit, really, is the R&B-ness and his vocals. It makes it quite boring in another sense. And what's quite funny is, although it's a very good album, obviously, the classic rock, there is nothing to say about this album at all.
It's going to go off the thing. Well, yeah. I mean, what can you say apart from exactly that.
It's nothing.
I mean,
why haven't you reviewed Free? This is why.
If you banned the term Deep Purple and or Led Zeppelin, there is literally nothing you can say about this because everything is sort of. And it's a kind of thing with all these albums. You're right.
Yeah.
It's framed against specifically, I would say, Deep Purple more than Led Zeppelin. And it just sounds like Deep Purple. The blandish songs on the Deep Purple albums slow down to about 1/8 of the tempo, and it really plods. You know, the vocals are really good. You know?
Yeah, really good. Yeah.
I mean, the guitar work's pretty good. You know, you're listening to it, you think this should be better.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with it. It ticks all the boxes, but it's just very boring.
Breakout albums, you know, they normally there's an essence of, you know, with a breakout album, it adds a little extra zip to the album, if you know what I mean.
Yes,
and that's what this is.
That's what. Yeah.
It's that without the zip, really. Maybe that makes it slightly disappointing. Maybe it actually hinders it more than anything else. You know, this is Free. You know, that's so influential, and this is the album that did it. And then you listen to it and you're like,
Yeah, it sounds exactly like that. That's what it is.
Right.
That's it. But I mean, well, I do think this is what Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, and AC/DC and rock bands. That's what they're supposed to sound like, but they actually don't.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, I mean, you've got Immigrant Song,
Dun, 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 dun.
and like you said, you've got your Into the Fire kind of stuff. Well, Into the Fire is quite intense, so maybe Demon's Eye. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, which I mean, compared to this, is incredibly interesting. but this sounds like rock music as the layman. Well, okay, rock music for people who don't listen to rock music, that's what it sounds like, and then it changes to the other albums we're going to listen to in 1980, and then that's rock music, and then you have the sort of that band that did Sound of Silence, and that's all rock music.
I mean, if you compare this to Led One, I mean, this is actually later than Led One. I mean,
Yeah.
Led One sounds so much more than this.
Yeah, yeah, they're coming from a different place, aren't they? I mean, Page already knows. He's decided. And he said, right, forget the Beatles and that. We're going to go back and we're going to take the folk and this and we're going to do. This is, well, this great R&B, blues, man, the blues stuff and with this R&B thing and, oh, yeah, groove, dum, 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 And they did that.
You almost wonder, I mean, All Right Now is, such a big track on this album.
Mm.
And it turned them into something monstrous, big, and ultimately killed the band.
Yeah.
You almost wonder if a lot of bands looked at that and said, "We've got to get that one song on the album, and that's it. We're there."
Yeah, just make some more songs that sound much the same.
Yeah.
That's exactly what most bands do.
Yeah, paved the way for everything that followed. So yeah, in terms of blandness, where have you got it?
We're about 7.5, I think. Yeah.
Oh, 8. I'll go 8.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. We're not going to be using any of this, But we've got to try and. I mean, bear in mind the whole point of this is the perspective we're coming from. And if we attract free fans, then like, what? How dare you? It's a prog channel,
and it's not. I mean, the specific point is it's not bad.
It's really good.
Yeah,
it's very, very good. Yeah, that's not the point at all. But the space in the music, that's what's striking. So superficially, it's like, oh, it's slow. But the space in the music, and that's where they get the groove. If they did it fast, it would be no, and that's boring. So actually, and it wasn't because they were half asleep. Although I am listening to it, it's because it's groove. Rock steady beat and all that stuff. And I'm teetering very dangerously towards. It's not what you play; it's what you don't play, which is nonsense. That's not quite what I mean. But that's the thing. You leave these gaps, and you can. And what you could do, if the drummer wasn't like 15 or whatever, I think he was about 17 on this album. You could do some real serious polyrhythmic stuff, weird rolls, and all that stuff. Which of course he doesn't, because he's not going to do. He's going to do. So so the best stuff. It's Paul Kossoff's guitar tone. I think specifically the tone. He's just a kid, He's like, I think he's 19. He was 17 when they're so young, but he hasn't actually had time to get it together. So it is very, very rough around the edges, and there's double track riffs, and they're almost in sync, but they're just kids. So they've done a fantastic job, And obviously Paul Rodgers' voice is amazing. It's interesting how soulful singers keep their voice. He's joined Queen, which is. You think all these singers who, they don't sound that good now. He does. He sounds the same. And I'm sure fans who know all the live stuff will have seen him slow down. I'm sure. But I don't hear that. I put on the Queen Plus DVD and it's Paul Rodgers singing. So it's interesting that. I mean, slightly relevant is, Glenn Hughes. I think about 10 years ago, he sounded amazing. And all his contemporaries have lost their voices. It's interesting. It's maybe because they've got that soulful voice. Actually, Joe Lynn Turner, who I'm not a fan of, kind of sounded terrible live in the 80s, didn't he? He's really good now. So yeah, weird. Paul Kossoff went to his first concert aged 8.
Wowzers.
So they did everything very, very young. It seems quite, and certainly bands we review, we don't review young bands. They've got to be old farts. They're 24 by the time they make that album. So old. I think that is relevant though, that they're so young and they're doing this cool music, and it seems so pre-thought out, doesn't it? It sounds they've planned this. They're not just playing stuff. We've got to have a bit of this and a bit of this, and we're doing this groove stuff. We're not going to get too excited and go too fast. And they are just kids, and that's amazing. And that would never happen now. Maybe it's like because they haven't heard anything else or something. I don't know. That's do we egg them? Maybe we shouldn't. Maybe
it's a complicated egg, isn't it? Sort of like.
Well, we've got to 6. That's a 6. And
I think it's more bland than 6.
You think it's more bland than 6?
Yeah. It plods.
We've run out of. It does plod.
It plods.
Yeah, that's a big one, isn't it? Plod is a big one. Okay, 8. Should we say 8?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's Fire and Water, which is a good album. Shh, it's good. Shh, stop it.
How dare you say them?
Yeah, and here we go. Oh. Back in Black. This is controversial because we're not going to review another ICDC album, are we? And of course, this is the first album without the first singer. Oh my God, look! Right, this has blue tack. Okay, there. The reason it's got blue tack there, that this is closed, was from when we did a review of something from 1980, like about 5 years ago. And when we used to stick the things up behind us of the albums of that year, and obviously this would open, so I had to blue tack it down.
Wow.
That's how much I listened to this album. And it probably hadn't been listened to for 5 years before that. It feels quite recent I bought this, but obviously not. Oh dear, well, 2003. Maybe it's 2003. I don't know. It's the big one, it's the famous one. I think Highway to Hell is on the previous one. But I think that, it was all, their trajectory was already there before the guy died. I think that's what it is. Not as traditional as Bon Scott. I think that's probably why I assume people say Bon Scott is better. But he has this sort of, I'm going to say cartoon element to it. But I don't mean that in a bad way. But it does make it very, very commercial. It kind of invents the 80s and makes it rock music for people who don't listen to rock music. That's what rock music sounds like, isn't it? Yes, they all sound like that. That's Led Zeppelin. They sound like that, don't they? And that's I don't think that's because they're so successful and influential and that they made it sound like that. I think that was already a thing, It is consistently great. All the songs are great. And you could say, that to be able to do something that simple and that straightforward and do 9 of them, 10 of them, there's 10 songs, is a real achievement of songwriting. It's all the same. And it's all good. And that is an achievement, so it gets another bland down like that, Last time I mentioned this was on Nevermind, when we reviewed Nevermind. And this is as simple as Nevermind. So in a lot of ways it's really similar, but the songwriting is better. I think the songwriting is good on Nevermind, but the songwriting is better on here, and all the nonsense has been removed, the whatever fashion stuff. This is probably the best album we're reviewing today, but it's the one I'm least likely to listen to, interestingly. But it's easy to say that I think that's the best, probably the best one we're going to do.
Yeah, you're probably right. Interestingly enough, when I was listening to this earlier, Sarah says, "What is this shit?"
Okay, that's surprising.
His voice sounds terrible. He's just screaming into a microphone.
Well, he did sing like that for 30 years and then had to stop there and then. And he was told, if you carry on, you will lose your hearing.
Wow.
Which is interesting. And of course, well, we'll talk about that in a minute.
AC/DC are a funny one for me. I've never really got into AC/DC, never really been that interested in them.
Yeah.
Cinema about, okay, yeah, they're rocking. I think what it is, they're almost, what's the word? Archetypal. Yeah?
Look at that, yeah.
They're almost archetypal rock. This is what, they've got an attitude in their songs, which Free haven't got, which I think Free are missing a little bit.
Yes.
They're all Free is almost too nice.
Yeah.
For rock, which this has got, but this isn't. it's archetypal, but it's not dangerous. So
is it metal? Is that a thing? A metal person would like that over that.
Yeah, you're probably right. But metal, there is an element of in the subjects of the music dealing with the taboo subjects.
I suppose so. Yeah.
There's nothing taboo in this, really.
No,
I mean, it's very, very.
Well, you want to sell that many records, you've got to be reasonably. Well, you've got to make people think they're being taboo, and they aren't. That's the key, isn't it?
So in that sense, that's probably where the blandness comes from. It's nothing surprising because it's
and I think that's very calculated. I think I don't know them that well to really know, but that's the impression I get, is that they know exactly,
And then you've got to remember they've been touring this
since
forever.
Yeah, they do these songs and Highway to Hell, as far as I know, and then I don't know.
And they've been very successful, ridiculously successful.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's again. I think you've picked 3 perfect albums for blandness, and it seems to be the marker of a bland album. It's very difficult to pinpoint exactly what's bland.
Yeah, it's just there. There it is.
Yeah.
and it's good, and the songs are rock songs.
Yeah, they're not terrible.
Yeah, they're good rock songs.
They're good rock songs. They tick all the boxes.
Yeah.
And you're right, 10 tracks of ticking all the boxes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm never going to buy another AC/DC.
Don't
I
need to,
one, and it's great, and that's it.
I mean, even the cover's good. I mean, I don't know what the original release was like, but I mean, that's
the original Black Album, obviously before Spinal Tap. But apparently it is because the singer had died. They thought, well, we better do something that's not just next album, which is kind of doesn't have any. Well, this it's this million-selling album with they just carried on.
I don't know. Is this sort of like this isn't a remaster or anything, is it?
I haven't a clue. It's not an original CD release. I don't think.
Right.
I reckon it's a newer one.
I was going to say, because even the production sounds.
It does.
Good.
Big, crunchy, great. Yeah, and obviously this is 10 years before, and a lot happened in between. But this is very rough around the edges. Yeah. This is pristine.
Yeah.
I don't know which way that goes, but I suppose it goes a bit that way.
It's produced by computer, even though it wasn't.
Yeah, I'm sure at the time people would have said that. They said, "Oh, they just done it with computers." People said that about the Beatles. They were saying, "Oh, it's just computers singing. They're not really singing." In the 60s. Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, good album. Really bland.
I enjoyed the songs that came out of the speakers when playing the album.
I mean, here's the thing, right? I mean, I'd probably hear AC/DC on the radio or something like that. Just pass straight through me.
Yes, that's AC/DC. Correct. It's Iron Man, isn't it? I tell you what, I think maybe only about 5 years ago, I actually discovered how big they are. I didn't actually know. I thought they were kind of Judas Priest, that kind of famous. No, they're
massive.
Yeah, not as big as Led Zeppelin, but of the order of Led Zeppelin success. I wonder if they never quite broke through here as in the rest of the world. Maybe that's a thing. I'm not sure.
It's a similar thing to Led Zeppelin in the touring. Obviously, they're touring, and they probably give a bloody good show.
Yes.
It's the same with Metallica, I mean, really, are Metallica that big?
Yeah.
But then they just tour relentlessly.
Yeah, they just got bigger and bigger and bigger, worse and worse and worse. Yeah. It doesn't matter. It makes no difference to me who's in the band. It makes no difference to me who the drummer is, because the drummer is playing the rock drums.
Yeah.
And the guitarist.
That's a good point, that is.
So if the guy that dresses in his school outfit left the band, has he left? Maybe he has. I don't know. I'm sure he doesn't headbang like that anymore. Didn't he? I don't know if this is an urban legend. See, I have no clue. Because he's headbanging, didn't he get like a boxer, like brain damage?
Did he?
I don't know if that might be nonsense. I have no idea.
It's a good story though. I mean, that actually takes the blandness down a little bit.
I suppose so. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, they're huge. And we said about Bon Scott having to quit, and they got Axl Rose to do the shows. That was the big thing, and everyone was like, "Oh, for God's sake, it's gonna be awful. Why don't they just get someone who's a good singer?" And he was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. I'm sure Bon Scott was probably showing wear and tear and probably had to down tune. I would assume. He played them all in the original key. He sung fantastically. Interesting. Now, here's the thing. Classic bit of Spinal Tap. Because he broke his leg. So he sat in this weird chair with this great big thing. In a cast. His leg in a cast. And I think that might be why he sung so well. Because he wasn't jumping around. That might explain why sometimes Axl Rose sounds terrible. And he sometimes he's good. I've never liked the sound of his voice.
Yeah, wasn't he that Metallica story where they were supposed to go out and he didn't want to go out because his throat was sore.
Yeah.
So obviously he's protected his voice over the years. That's probably why he can do it.
It's possible that was only a very short period of time. The sort of user illusion where it all fell apart. It's possible that was when he sort of lost the plot and it was actually only brief. And actually, because he wasn't touring for all those years, he was sitting on an album, saved his voice. Maybe that's it. Yeah. But anyway, that's not relevant to AC/DC because we don't know anything about AC/DC. There's riffs. The riffs are there. They are riffs and they are songs. I mean, there's three types of songs. I think 3 types of songs. You've got "You Shook Me All Night Long." That's the pop song, and you've got the "Back in Black" AC/DC song. Sounds like AC/DC, and that's it.
You said there was 3 types.
Well, Hell's Bells. That just makes me think of Bill Bruford. So that ruined. And you think, oh, boring. Come on, put Bill Bruford on instead. This is boring. It's really slow. The album starts with a really slow song. It's free tempo, and obviously then you got "Shoot to Thrill," which is fast. I would assume they should open the concerts with "Shoot to Thrill." I would guess. Yeah. They are, but it's 1980, so this is New Album again, except of course they're Australian. But obviously all the best New Album albums weren't new wave, and some of them weren't British. Some of them were, but they weren't new. All these big albums, and I think it's because what New Album actually was the media acknowledging that rock music is still popular, because it always was. It didn't go away. So obviously it meant the marketing departments could really push the latest album by whatever band, and that's why we had all these big albums. But yeah, I mean, I would take Heaven and Hell, Iron Maiden, Down to Earth.
Anything with a personality, basically.
Yeah, maybe not British Steel. It's ridiculous, but there's quite a few albums. Yeah, here we go. I mean, okay, Permanent Waves. Okay, that's when Rush sold out, and it's really good. I'm not sure there's that much difference really at that point, but that's definitely New Album, and of course not British. To me, Scary Monsters goes into the same category, although obviously in a sense it's not, because it's fashionable and the media actually like them. Motorhead released their Ace of Spades album in 1980, and again, they weren't new. Nobody knew about them before then, but they weren't new. Peter Gabriel 3. Sorry, Peter Gabriel released the album Peter Gabriel. Def Leppard released On Through the Night, and it's a picture of a lorry and a guitar or something. And Remain in Light. All right, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Some albums. But the thing, what New Album is, I think, it's rock became what it was supposed to be. This was the start of that journey, and now even much more so. Rock music is supposed to be and really simple, and just it's just a drum banging. And it became that, It's like it had to gravitate towards what Mary Whitehouse would have thought it would be, And that's very much part of that journey. And now you've got the band that does Sound of Silence. I keep wanting to call them Dismember, but Dismember are like stuff. You can tell me what they're called. Thanks.
Sound of Silence. The Sound of Silence.
I think this needs to go up a bit, doesn't it?
It does need to go up a bit, yeah. So that's AC/DC, and that has scored 7.5. Yeah, I think that's
yeah, right.
Yeah, cool. Next is
Here's a song for ya from David Coverdale.
I've actually got all the original band Whitesnake. I don't mean the original lineup. I mean there's 2 bands. So the proper Whitesnake band, I've got all their albums, and it's on one of these box sets. That's $9.99. That's kind of the only reason I've got the album at all. Really, I just thought, well, that's a bargain, and it was great. And We went on holiday somewhere, and I was driving to Scotland, so we got to listen to him, and I really enjoyed doing that. And it was, after a bit, obviously, I wanted to listen to something different, but it was good. And we're reviewing the uncontroversial cover one, that one, which is it must be a play on In Rock. Actually, I've only just realised that just now, but that's got to be a play on In Rock, isn't it? And that it's a terrible album cover, but it's not. There was a lot of trouble with Love Hunter, which I probably shouldn't even hold up. Oh, there's a lady and stuff
straddling a snake.
Yeah. So anyway, Ready and Willing, the best Whitesnake album. Obviously, a huge influence from Free and Paul Rodgers and Bad Company as well. There's even a tribute song to them on the album, Carrying Your Load, because you've got Heavy Load on Fire and Water. Hang on, I'm going to put these back in order. See, I don't really listen to them, but I do want them in order. That says it all, really, doesn't it? And yet it's strikingly different to AC/DC. That's probably something we can talk about. Is what's the difference? In the Free was at the start, and they're both normal rock, but nothing like AC/DC. So I think that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on, I'm trying to make put the albums in order while we talk. I think at this stage there is a fair amount of variation in styles. You can say it's this style and it's this style and this style. R&B rock, and there's ballads, and there was fusion, blues rock. This is the high watermark in that the songwriting's got really good, and they're not repeating themselves. So if you do want to buy a Whitesnake album, it should definitely be this one. I don't think there's much argument about that. The early stuff has more of a fusiony thing, which I really like, but this is actually a better album, I think. And much like Free, you only need one Whitesnake album, so there it is, that one. Buy it if you like that. Yes. It is rock music, and it has blues rock on it. And
I don't know what to say about Whitesnake, really, because it is sort of...
It's Whitesnake?
It's like a continuum, yeah? But it's not a continuum from Free to Whitesnake. It's a continuum in time.
Yeah.
But they are sort of...
the same.
Yeah.
It's just more of the same. Which was the idea, This.
It's sort of, okay, I'm listening to this. Why wouldn't I put a Deep Purple album on? That's the problem.
That is, exactly that. Definitely, yeah.
Everything's perfectly all right about it,
You couldn't say the word good, though, could you?
It
is good, though. These are all good albums. These are all good albums. Stop complaining. No.
It's a similar thing. You analyse, you stop and listen to the actual music, and you think, yeah, that's pretty good, but why?
Then you forget it's on again.
Why isn't it popping out at me? Why isn't it like... It's just so incredibly... It's decaf coffee. It's...
Yeah. The margarine of evil. the only 1 calorie. Yeah.
I don't know. It's sort of flat. As flat as you can... it's that flat. That's the right amount of flatness.
Two-dimensional. It's just like in Futurama when they go in the fair, when you can go into a two-dimensional thing and they're just flat.
It does nothing really. There's nothing offensive about it.
No,
it's so hard talking about bland albums.
Yeah, that's great. That's the thing, and it did occur to me in a sense. Okay, there's nothing to say about these albums, but we do 3 of them, and it's quite funny. Then we don't have to worry about what we have to say.
We've done those albums. I refer you to our bland special.
Hang on a minute, you didn't say anything about the album at all. You just said it was bland.
Yeah, it's very
bland. It's there. What we can talk about is how there's 2 Whitesnakes. This is Whitesnake Mark II, but it's Whitesnake Mark II of the first band. And there's another band that started in '83, and it was basically David Coverdale with people, whoever they may be, and lots of hair. This is a band though, and there is interplay, and it's all about the playing, and you do hear that, and you've got to. There's an element of effort in that. In that you can't just put the songs on. That's the song. It's good. You can hear, oh, that's that bit of playing there. That's good. You know, there's loads of that stuff going on. Coverdale actually, saw Whitesnake at the time anyway, as what the Yardbirds would have been had they carried on. It's weird. I think Yardbirds. I think it's all those pop songs, isn't it? But they're not. That was only that bit of the Yardbirds. They were supposed to be that. They were supposed to be this R&B bluesy thing. You know, R&B rock is the Jeff Beck albums with Cozy Powell. It's that stuff, and obviously Burn. And that's what he's carrying on, and it's on Free as well, isn't it? Recorded at Ridge Farm, interestingly. Obviously, the Genesis is place where Night at the Opera was also recorded.
So this was the studio that Genesis owned?
Yes. The next one was recorded. I'm doubting this now. I think the next one was recorded in John Lennon's studio, which was owned by Ringo. I think after John died. And Ringo immediately rented it out to all these rock bands. So Mob Rules was recorded there. And they all say about that somebody slept in their bed with the John and Yoko light switches and how creepy it was and all that stuff. But and they had the time they didn't think anything of it. Because he only just died, you have to remember.
It was still warm.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, this has got Full Fire Lovin' on it. And I'll put a clip on and we'll see what happens to the clip. So yeah, fast forward another 10 years actually. It's 1990. And straight away look at the music video. And it's like cinematic stuff and something happens. Oh, but look at them posing. Aren't they cool?
Awesome hair.
And the hair's amazing. How do they get it to stay up like that? Actually, I'm noticing it does just sound the same. I was going to say it sounds different. It sounds the same. We should point out, obviously, the remake of this song. Yes, obviously it was Steve Vai, which is bizarre, terrible idea. But that little bit then, I really like the octaves he does. They're actually really nice, but it doesn't fit the song at all, does it? So what's the question is what's the difference? It sounds the same, doesn't it? It's the same, boring. No, and you know people will talk about. It's because it's tabloos. Oh, they're playing with feeling. He doesn't play with. Shut up. You've got Ian Pace. He's only just joined the band. Remember at this point, he's had a bit of a break, and we know Whitesnake did break Ian Pace, but whatever. And obviously Pacey has this feel, and he's going to be good at stopping things sounding horribly 80s, and you know, and John Lord is there, but there's that at the start. But apart from that, he's not on it, is he? This isn't the John Lord. You know, John is in the band. The two of them are both in the band. They just wanted to be in a band where it's just can I just be in the band? I don't do anything. They make a difference, obviously. Just the feel of them being there is going to make a difference, and particularly Pacey. But really, it's the bass. It's Neil Murray. Okay, because Neil Murray is a fusion player. That's where he came from. That's what he brought to the band in the earlier albums. And obviously, they went much more bland. But he has groove. And it's actually the mix is different. You listen to the mix of this version, and it's all bass, and he's doing all this stuff, and it's great. It gives it gives it groove without it sounding like free and slow and you know, and that's why the hairband stuff is just and sounds like rock, and the drummer's going, you know, swishing his hair around. And why that version it sounds exactly the same but sort of muffled, and yet much better. So that you know that gets a thing. That does get a thing. Like I said, I mean, Ian Pace wasn't at his best for this because he did that thing of just let me be in the band, and I think he lost his mojo a bit, and he started worrying about being a timekeeper, and of course was replaced by Cozy Powell. So all the drummers rotated. But the guitarists ended up wearing T-shirts saying I'm not in fucking Deep Purple. I wasn't in fucking because half the band, 3 of them, were in Deep Purple. Again, Nawabum. It's a Nawabum album of old people, people in an old band.
It's more Wobum.
And the people in the band hated that because obviously actual Nawabum bands sound so hilarious and don't really have very good songs.
I've got to admit, I mean, I'm not into the whole Nawabum thing.
Well, it's not very good. Not very good. Except for Maiden. I mean, you didn't even like Maiden. But
It sounds so raw and heavy.
Yeah.
It just
I
sounds
was going
shit.
to burn.
And again, it's that thing of rock music becoming what it is supposed to be. And it sounds comical. Anvil, who, of course, again, I think they're Canadian, I think. Oh, terrible. It's terrible music. It is worse than Spinal Tap. And they're serious. So, style over substance. That's what it is. In that people want it. I like heavy metal. So I wear the uniform and be part of the club. And you have to sound like that. And it doesn't have to be any good because it's part of the club. Whitesnake do have the songs. That's the thing. They just tend to repeat. But you notice, although you've got 3 out of 5 members of Deep Purple, there's 6 members of the band. Because there's 2 guitarists. Why is there 2 guitarists? Why? Oh, well, but then you can just have... It sounds more bland if you have more guitarists doing the same thing. Do they harmonise? Occasionally. And there's a song on the next album where they harmonise. I can't think of one on here. Maybe the chorusy bit, "Fall for You Loving," maybe is that harmonised? I don't know. Yeah, and they play the blues, man, but it's rock, and it's an album, and there it is. It's called Whitesnake. That's the band. Anything to say?
No.
It's interesting. This is a 9 because they've got 2 guitarists. Maybe AC/DC got 2 guitarists. I have no idea. But if you've got a keyboard player and it's John Lord, I'll turn him off. Switch off his organ because you can't hear him, so they can go. Is that going to be a 9 then? Is that what we're going to do?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a 9.
Yeah.
Let's go with a 9. Bland.
I did send you a message. I said I'm listening to Whitesnake and I need coffee. And that tells you everything, really, doesn't it?
Oh, but David Coverdale.
I must have become so desensitised to this music over the years.
Yeah.
I'm sure when I was young that would have sounded, whoa.
Probably.
That's a bit.
Oh, it's rock. Because I like rock, so I'll listen to this. This is rock.
Turn it up.
Yeah.
Make everyone listen to it.
So yeah, do I recommend the little box of snakes? Probably if you like.
If you like snakes and boxes.
Yeah, so that was interesting. That's quite funny. Thank you very much. See you next time. I don't know what we're doing next.